Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Lara Crampton and I am happy to have you here. Today is May 1st and I want to look back on the books that I read during April. I read 6 books during the month of April. 1 book was digital from my Kindle, 1 was an audiobook, and the rest were physical copies. And of those 6 books, 4 of those were new and I had never read them before. Before we get into the video, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel. I post bookish content as often as time permits because I love reading, and I hope that you do too. With that, let's jump in to the books I read during April 2019. The first book that I read in April was finishing off a series that I had started earlier in the year, one of my favorite series of all time, and that book was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows by J.K. Rowling. I love Harry Potter. I've loved Harry Potter since I was a kid. This one came out in 2007. Oh. This is a first edition copy that I got the night that it launched. Anyway, I've hung on to this one for a long time. I stole it fair and square from my mom. Sentimentality aside, I loved the conclusion to one of my favorite series. I had seen the movie more recently than I had read the book, and I definitely loved the book more than the movies. There are a few things that they missed out on that were pretty important to the book. The one letdown, I suppose, from the 7th book is the final battle between Harry and Lord Voldemort. I feel like we've had 7 years of build-up to this ultimate battle, and like when they're in the castle, it lasts for a few minutes and then it's over. I wish she would have drawn that out a little bit. Maybe had him try some other spells. I don't know. The ending was a little anticlimactic. Otherwise, a happy ending to a story that I have treasured and will continue to treasure forever. 2007! Oh my gosh, when did I get so old? 2007! I was 12! I was 13. How old was I? Weird. Time flies by. But that story stays just as great. The next book I read was probably my 2nd lowest rated book that I've ever read in my life. This book is beloved by nerds everywhere. It's a classic. It's been a classic since it came out. And I went into this book expecting that. Because I'm pretty nerdy. I like to play video games, and I read a lot of books, and I like to watch all the nerdy movies, and I like to sci-fi, and Star Trek, and I freaking love Star Trek, right? Like, I went into this book with the understanding that this was a staple in nerd culture. And that book was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I recently went through my bookshelves, and I'm getting rid of maybe 2 boxes of books. I'm gonna make a video about that one, so stay tuned for that. And I had already put this in there, so I had to go dig through the box so I could show it to you today and talk about it today. I gave this book 2 stars on my Goodreads. I just felt like nothing happened. It was the dumbest book, and it was such a letdown for me because I wanted to love it. I wanted it to be I wanted to be a member of the cult. It's a cult classic. I wanted to be a part of that. And I remember turning to Devin. I was probably 3/4 of the way through it, and I was like, this is the stupidest book I have ever read. And I just pushed through it so I could get that number and check it off my list. Ugh, it was so dumb. A lot of my friends from high school loved this book. It was so stupid. So dumb. I'm giving it away. So long, Gay Bowser! So long, Gay Bowser! So long, Gay Bowser! So long, Gay Bowser! Sorry. The 3rd book that I read was Normal People by Sally Rooney. This was one of my Book of the Month Club books. I got 2 for last month, but I only read this one because I started reading some other series that are pretty involved. I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave it 4 stars. This book is about Connell and Marianne, who knew each other in high school. Marianne was never popular, while Connell was They become connected in high school, and they kind of start hooking up with each other. And this kind of just goes through the intervening years of how their lives continue to connect with each other. I don't really know how to explain it. I didn't like the ending. I thought the ending was kind of a letdown from everything that had been built up through the entire book. Yeah, I think I gave it 4 stars. It was really different from most fiction that I have read. And I don't think I will read it again. It was weird. It was a weird book. The next book was an ebook that I read on my Kindle. That book was called What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. Becky Albertalli also wrote Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, which was one of my favorite books that I read last year. And this one was just as cute. This book is about 2 boys named Ben and Arthur, and they both live in New York City. They happen to run into each other at a post office, and Ben is just going through a breakup. After Ben and Arthur meet in the post office, they don't exchange any information, they don't even get each other's names, and they set about trying to find each other in New York City, in a city of several million people. And it was so cute. So, just the perfect gay teen romance that I needed to fill in a little spot in my heart last month. It was absolutely perfect. And I ate it up. I love gay teen romance. I learned that about myself last month. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. The second to last book that I read in April, I guess I didn't really read it. It was my one audiobook, and that book is The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. I listened to the audiobook narrated by Rob Inglis. I kind of got into a debate on Twitter. I think Emma Books asked for audiobook recommendations, and I recommended she listen to The Lord of the Rings, narrated by Rob Inglis, and some random Twitter user responded to me and was like, I said Rob Inglis, he really makes it come to life, he really brings the story and the characters and the environment to life for me. And she was like, I don't think so. I think he's really bland and boring, and he doesn't do justice to the series. And I was like, A, I didn't ask for your opinion. And B, what? Anyway, I love having it narrated by Rob Inglis. I'm about 30% of the way through the next and final book. I can't wait to finish the series so I can watch all the movies. All 6? How many Hobbit movies did they make? They made 3, right? They made 3 out of one book. And then one movie for each. Right. I can't wait to watch all 6 extended editions. I'm in love with Aragorn. I really fell in love with the relationship that Sam and Frodo have. Sam can be kind of a negative Nancy. He sees a lot of the bad in a situation before seeing any kind of good. But I feel like we really can feel the love that he has for Frodo, and I ship it, and I know whatever, at the end he marries a woman or whatever, but I ship it. Like, I get, it can be like a brotherly love or a friendly love, but there's something so deep about the connection that they have with each other, and how much Sam has already sacrificed everything, and would give his life in place of Frodo's. I finished this laying on the floor in my living room when there were a bunch of guys over to the house hanging out with Devin. Just tossed my headphones on, hit the sound canceling button, and just laid there and listened. I definitely recommend that you check out the audiobook narrated by Rob Inglis. The Hobbit and The Fellowship are free with Kindle Unlimited. I did have to pay for the last 2 audiobooks, but it's totally worth it for me. The final book that I read during April. Let's see, I started it on a Friday evening, about 7. went to bed around midnight, and then I woke up and I finished it the next day by like 2 or 3 after having slept into like 11. I blew through this book because I love this book. I understand that it's not the most masterfully written kind of book. It's been a meme. It's one of the original memes that people make fun of, but I'm not going to let that change the love that I have for Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. I love Twilight. I love it. I will never deny it. I love the first book, especially. I love the movies as well, but there's some scenes in the book that they missed out on in the movie that would have probably helped the movie do a little better. The blood typing scene where Bella passes out and the scene in the meadow, they got it totally wrong in the movie, and it's so much more beautiful and romantic in the book. My one drawback to Twilight is the ending with the whole hunt with James. I feel like she could have drawn that out a little longer and made it more intense. I don't know. There is a different way she could have turned that, but I am Team Edward all the way and forever. Bella was meant to be a vampire, and I love Twilight. Insert this video of me freaking out on Instagram about how much I love Twilight. I'm in such a good mood right now. I just finished Twilight, and the jets are screaming, and I'm listening to Twilight, and I love Twilight. As I was reading it, I was at the very last scene where Edward and Bella are dancing at prom, and I was listening to the soundtrack, and American Mouth, Flightless Bird, I think is the name of the song, when they're dancing at prom, and that was playing as I was finishing the book, and I got goosebumps, so make fun of me all you want, I don't even care. I love Twilight, Twihard for life. Ugh. I want to buy the collector's set. I don't really have room for them right now. I would have to totally revamp my whole shelf. So, anyway, I love Twilight. Twilight forever. Those are the 6 books that I read during April. Briefly, the books that I am reading and listening to right now, there are 3. I am listening to Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm on page 183. I'm 30% of the way through the book, through the audiobook. But I do like to keep track in my physical book of where I am, as well as on my Kindle. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. I really love... What's his name? He's so nice. Oh, he's so nice to Pippin. Or is it Mary? I don't know who's who, but I really love... I think it's Baragond. Yeah, so when Pippin and Gandalf first get to Gondor? Are they in Gondor? You can see how good my retention is. There's just so much. I think they're in Gondor. Anyway, Baragond and Pippin sitting on the wall talking about all of their stories, and I really like their relationship. I think that they're... Oh, I thought that was cute. Anyway, hoping to have this one done this month. I'm reading New Moon. I always remove my dust jackets, so that's right here. I am on page 226. Jacob has just come down with mono. Honestly, I could skip all of the nonsense with Jacob, save myself about 250 pages, and get back to where Edward comes back into the story. I'm not a huge fan of Jacob. I feel like he doesn't respect Bella's boundaries. When she says no, he keeps going. And I had a friend like that. That's annoying. It's really obnoxious to, say, no, I don't want this. No, I see you as a friend, and then to have that be ignored, right? And I just don't like that about Jacob. I'll probably finish this one this week. These ones are really easy to blow through. And then I'm also reading the first book, A Game of Thrones by J.R.R. Martin. I'm not very far into it. I'm about 142 pages in, because there are 2 other books that are holding my interest more. I like it so far. I think that J.R.R. Martin has really, really great writing style, and I really have enjoyed what I've read so far, but it's just not quite pulled me back in. Yes. Okay. That's that for my reading wrap-up for April 2019. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below what was the best book that you read during April, or how many books you were able to finish. Make sure you subscribe to my channel before you head out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Shit. Shit! Was that gum? Is that an unopened pack of... I have gum! I think I had started the first book back in 2006. They don't get any... And I didn't really get into a bait onto a bait.